Hello, I am Appleby, and I don't know, we've got ourselves in quite a pickle. This isn't the first time I've talked about the climate on this channel, and it certainly won't be the last. The question is, what do we do about it? What do we do about our havoc? Like, forget the climate for a minute and just the environment in general, the environment writ large. How do we undo the damage we have done? Now, a lot of folks, as it says in the title, they like the idea of degrowth. They say it's the only realistic way for us to undo what we have done. The problem is that degrowth comes with a very large cut to our standard of living, especially in the West, in the global North in general. You know, we'll have to take a cut, and many people in developing nations will have to stay where they are. Um, I don't know. That's a hard pill to swallow. People don't like that. Well, there is sort of another solution, and it's still degrowth, right? But here's the idea. If the population were to go down, and I'm not advocating any culling or something, just that we don't give birth to more people. We don't create new people, or at least we reduce the rate at which we do so. Now, I don't want to use the word antinatalist because I think that's a little reductive as to my position, but I do think that to give birth to another person is a great injustice. It's it's not right. And so I would advocate that we cut down on that as much as possible anyway. But when it comes to degrowth, if we are able to cut down on the rate of children being born, then as the total economy GDP goes down, as degrowth happens, then we will be able to increase the GDP per capita. So it's possible with a shrinking economy and a shrinking population for every individual person's GDP, for their standard of living to continue going up, which is what I think we all want. We all want to live a better life than we do now. And I do think some wealth redistribution is in order there. But I don't know. It seems like such an obvious solution to the problem. Now, this isn't my full picture because what I also believe in is rewilding, right? Uh, Humanity has taken up too much of the pie. You know, people say that the it's not a zero sum game, and as far as the economy is concerned, that's true. It's not a zero sum game. But as far as land is concerned, that is a zero sum game. There's only so much of it on the planet, and we've taken up too much. I mean, if you just go to Google Earth and you zoom in on Texas, for example, you'll just see circular patches of agricultural land. It's just as far as the eye can see, you know? That is not the natural state of that land, you know. Uh, now, I firmly believe that we are a part of nature and we need to see ourselves as such. But that being said, we are disruptive to the nature that already existed in that area. We totally taken over. That was monoculture crops is not what that land used to be, and it's not what that land should remain. What we need to do is we need to, one, like I said, allow our populations to fall off gradually at a manageable rate. We need to shrink our economies while maintaining a growth in GDP per capita so that the standard of living can go up for every individual, but we can maintain a reasonable extraction rate. We can live in harmony with the environment, we need to consolidate our towns and our agriculture. I'm a big believer in vertical farming. People ask, what is the point of vertical farming? And I would say, this is the point of vertical farming: rewilding. That agricultural land, there's no way to get around it. That it needs to exist to feed us. So, how do we turn that agricultural land back into wilderness without starving to death? And the answer has always been vertical farming. And, I have to be perfectly honest here. I have some ambitions of starting some vertical farms of my own, some, to show people that it's possible. And I have some ideas on how to, because I realize that right now it's just not super economically viable. I have some ideas on how to fix that, but obviously I don't want to give them out just in case I do ever get the capital saved up to start such a business. I don't want my ideas stolen. But enough about that, right? There are other benefits to vertical farming that people just don't think about, right? You could have, a vertical farm to grocery store, like literally have the vertical farm built on top of the grocery store, so that your produce is ultra fresh, right? I mean, we're talking about just the quality of ingredients here, the quality of the things that you can cook with, and then consequently the things you can make with that food. It will open up doors and allow us to grow more exotic foods that would not be available normally in your area right at home. Vertical farming is absolutely the future. Verticulture, baby. It's it's the way. And if we figure out how to make it economically viable, and it outcompetes these traditional agricultural farms, then we can allow those farms to go back to nature. Now, we also need to consolidate in cities. Now, I understand not everybody loves city life, but when I say cities, I mean major population centers. We need to get rid of these little ghost towns. Those need to be rewilded. We need to, I would say anything under a population of 5,000 just needs to go. And everywhere where there is a large population, we need to move vertically. We need to build our cities more like hives than cities. We need to acknowledge that we are part of the natural world, and we need to take our cues from the natural world. And those sort of hive structures are going to be more efficient than the ones we have now. Like, could you imagine if a beehive was spread out across every tree had a little chunk of beehive, and it's just honey dripping everywhere? It would just be a mess. It makes sense to have it centralized. And so I think that there should be a sort of national movement to do so. Now, I understand some people, they don't like city life, they don't even like town life. I am not opposed to individual structures in rural areas out in the middle of nowhere. I want a home like that myself. But these middle ghost towns, those need to go. Okay, human civilization, we need to plan where we want to build. Now, to get to and from, right, our roads. How do we deal with roads? Well, you can build overpasses for wildlife. And in that way, we can allow wildlife to pass through and over our constructions without disrupting anything. And these have been tried, some in Canada, some out in the West, where I'm from, and they've been incredibly successful at reducing the number of accidents caused by wildlife crossings, which in the United States does a crazy amount of damage. I don't even know the number off the top of my head. It's at least 1 billion. It might be multiple billions of dollars a year are lost to wildlife collisions, because cars are so essential to our way of life here in the States, and there's so much wildlife crossing every day. It's a very, it's a beautiful country, and we need to preserve that, and we can be a world leader in that. And This isn't to say that like it shouldn't be enacted in other places, but personally, I would like it if we were exceptional. That's the goal, right? Those are a few of the changes. I'm sure I can think of more. But like I said, we need to consolidate, become vertical. We need to rewild the areas between our cities. We maybe even need, in the biggest cities, to invite the wilderness in and create a sort of a, oh, what am I? Arcologies. That's the word. It's from sci fi. We need to build wilderness into our vertical structures. And, I talked in my first video about building communities that can show the way forward. Now, I think this would be amazing. Again, if I was able to build myself up to the point where I could start such a thing, a charter city that could show off these ideals and show people another way, that's the goal. And I have a few places in mind too. I don't want to, get too ahead of myself, but I've put some thought into it. Yeah, I think that's about what I have to say on the subject. I've been Appleby. Thank you for watching, and really, I would love to hear your comments. So, like, what do you think we can do as the human race to improve the way that we live in relationship to nature, as part of nature, as a unified whole? You know, like bees do, or termites. I don't know. You social insects. They've got it. They've got it figured out. We should take our cues from them, I think. Anyway, thank you for watching.